Hello, Hawks fans. Welcome to another episode of Talking Hawks. Here we are recapping another victory for the Hawks, playing down in UTAS with a 38-point victory, 13-9-87 to 7-7-49 against Port Adelaide. It was quite exciting game in quite horrendous conditions. How are you, Mitch?
Good, Chris. Good to jump on with you, mate. It's been a while since we've been on a stream. Hello, Hawks fans in the comments. Pretty wet and wild, wasn't it? The commentators were certainly boasting about the wind and how insane it was, but I think they failed to take into account how much rain they were getting. With some of the commentators saying, 6-7 goal breeze, but yes, it was pretty strong. But I think the rain sort of negated that a bit as well. But it was good to see the Hawks come out with the chocolates and get another 4 points on the board.
Best complete performance this season, maybe. It was very solid,
up there,
and especially the start with them winning the toss before the rain kicked in, and they didn't quite take full advantage of the that wind in that first quarter, especially that after Sicily gave away that free kick at the start of the game. You don't remember? Yep.
No, I actually missed it, and then I watched it later in the game. I missed the first probably 4 minutes. And then I saw it later, so I probably wasn't as worked up as some Hawks fans because I watched it about 3 hours later.
You knew the score, and it was
irrelevant. It didn't really bother me. I turned it on, and so did Sis, which was good to see him back. Probably not to his best, but better than what he has been.
Yeah, I think he's sort of playing within his limits. I know we distinctly seen him. Instead of kicking a nice 50, 60-metre kick, he had a look around and he had Dimmer running behind him, so he opted to pass to Dimmer rather than kick himself. So I think there is something going on there that he's managing. But, yeah, he's slowly getting back into some form. I know I haven't been the happiest watching him be a little bit of, we're carrying the load for him. But, yeah, that was good. He's still been important for us.
Yeah, he certainly has. Seen already a few comments about Josh Ward, so I'd like to get straight into him because I do think that it was his best game for the Hawks. Was really, really good in a tough game, and probably a game style that sort of suits him a little bit with the conditions. But yeah, he was phenomenal.
Yeah, I've just noticed his presence with his body. He's a lot more sturdier, whether it being him being tackled or tackling somebody else, just bumping off them. Yeah, he's looking a lot more a full, complete player now.
Yep. Yeah, certainly. I think he's starting to really etch himself in the best 22 or 23, I guess, if you count a sub. He's certainly making progress pretty quickly now, and definitely a breakout game for him on the weekend, I think. Yep.
Yeah, no, he's very solid. What do you have? 26 touches, I think.
Yeah, Peter's just come to our aid right on time. 26 disposals. I'd assume that's 9 tackles and 6 clearances.
567 meters gained as well. So in those conditions, that's a pretty handy performance.
Yeah, certainly.
Who else was your eye on the weekend?
Oh, well, I think the obvious one was Mitch Lewis, to see how he came back after just over a year of no footy, recovering from an ACL. And I thought in horrendous conditions for your first game back in a year, I actually thought he was quite good, all things considered. I do like the decision to take him off probably halfway through the third quarter, I think it was.
Yep.
And the super sub coming on with his first goal. But yeah, I thought, like, all things considered, I thought he presented to the ball pretty well. Don't know if he sort of clunked many, but again, with the conditions, I mean, the only one that could sort of take a contested mark was Cal Shadir, and plenty of intercept marks, but certainly in terms of like a contested sort of marking, the weather just wasn't really built for that. So I thought all things considered, I would put a big tick next to his return, and hopefully we get some more favourable conditions against Carlton on Thursday night, and he can kick a few and hopefully maybe even get it back.
I found it interesting that they listed Chol as injured. Now, I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about an injury, and it's a bit surprised because normally if they are resting somebody to give somebody else a run, they would normally say it being managed or
managed,
whatever.
Well, it certainly wasn't going to say omitted next to his name, I don't think. He's been awesome all year. So it's a selection headache to have, and I'd like to see, in the comments, what sort of setup you think we should roll with Hawks fans. It's a really good problem to have going into September, but when you've got, Chol having the year that he is, Gunston turning back the clock in the way that he is, and now looks like Kalshadir, came back and looked really, really good in trying conditions, as we said. And then you've obviously got Lewis as well. So, really good problem to have, but it's going to be a bit of a headache at the selection table pretty much from here on out, really.
Now, what do you think with the quick backup playing on Thursday? Does Mitch Lewis stay in the team? Or you reckon he might swap out with Chol? Although we just seen that comment there. Slight groin injury.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. No, I think he probably played. I don't, had he played the full game out, maybe. But I think if he's ready, if he pulls up okay, I would say play him. I don't see the benefit in bringing him for one game, especially in such tough conditions for Talls, and then going on, I will rest you again. As long as he pulls up okay, I'll just play on and maybe give one of the other boys a rest, maybe Gunston this time, with considering Child probably won't have 2 weeks out unless that groin injury is a little bit more significant than first thought.
Yeah. And Box Hill do have a bye next weekend, so it doesn't necessarily mean they can go down and play there. So if they do miss out, they'll be having a week off.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. So even more so, if there's no Box Hill footy, I'd just leave unless he pulls up a bit sore. I'd be leaving Mitchie in, and hopefully he can get I wouldn't even say a return to form because it might take him 3 or 4 weeks, but just see a little bit more of the ball, considering how horrible the conditions were on Saturday.
Did you read this comment? Is that what you're laughing at?
Yeah, you got me, Chris. Yeah. Thanks, Tom. Good to be back.
The other inclusion, which was much anticipated, Scrimshaw back in the team. I thought he was outstanding, and just really aggressive tackling and letting the opposition know about it too. So really stoked to see him back playing his best footy.
Yeah, I thought he was really, really good. Probably a couple more that were sort of in the votes, but no, I thought he was really good. I actually was talking to Daz during the game, and he'd said it was early on, so I'm not going to spray him too much, but he said early on that we need to have a scrimmer conversation. I said, what are you talking about? We're watching the same game. He's been great. And then he laid a couple of real big tackles in the second and third quarter. And I messaged him straight away and said, you were saying? And he's like, mate, I can't predict the future. He just started ordinary. But no, I thought he was really good. And I 100% think he should be in this side. And I know, again, with selection, it's hard to get them all in. And we've got a couple of fringe players from last year that have really started to push for a spot in the best 22 as well. And then obviously a couple of new recruits in terms of the side compared to last year. So, it's going to be tough, but I do think, Scrimmer's got to be in the side pretty much every week.
Yep, no, I agree with that. I think he's, definitely in the best 22 when he's fully fit. I know he's had a pretty interrupted season with injury and concussion and whatnot, so hopefully he's back in the team to stay for the rest of the year now. It's going to be an interesting race home to the finals with a few results changing against other teams. Fremantle getting the upset against Collingwood changes that dynamic between us and the Bulldogs, I guess, for that last couple of spots.
Yeah, well, it puts the pressure right back on the Doggies now. But we just got to keep winning, and top four hopes are still alive. It's going to be pretty hard to get into that top four, just being our percentage with how many teams are there between third and seventh. Is actually, so I think Gold Coast are a game behind in seventh, but they've got one up their sleeve. So, it's going to be tough, but just keep getting wins on the board, and worst case we play finals bottom half of the 8. Best case top 4.
And does that make our game against Fremantle, that loss, look a little bit better now that they've gone and knocked off Collingwood?
Jump in the comments, Hawks fans. I honestly want to hear everyone's thoughts on this, because the first thing I said when the siren went today, I rang my brother straight away, who's a massive Hawks fan as well, and I said, our loss doesn't actually look that bad now. I know last week was disappointing, particularly the last quarter. But yeah, I certainly think, Freo then coming over here and beating Collingwood would have been the best side all year at home. I'm not actually too worried about that loss after today's game.
Yep. Just for all those who are watching on X or Twitter, if you do want to comment, because we don't receive your comments, if you want to jump over to YouTube to join the comments, feel free to jump across there. Adelaide's looking pretty scary right now. Where that was pretty impressive what they did to Gold Coast in that first half.
Yeah, Gold Coast coming off probably one of their best wins in club history as well. So, I would say that, Adelaide's percentage as well is one, like, it's going to go up again, and we're in the mid 130s now, I think. So, who we got? Well, we got Adelaide in 2 or 3 weeks. Is it after Carlton or?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'd have to have a look.
But it's either Collingwood or Adelaide, I think, next.
We did have a discussion last week before the game about who Finn was going to tag, and Finn did not tag anybody.
No.
And then this week, Mitchell's made a different decision and chosen to tag him, and it paid off. Good move. Unfortunately, for anyone who hasn't heard, Finn McGuinness has a lacerated kidney.
Yeah.
Got flown down to Royal Hobart to have surgery. I've got no idea how long that recovery may be. I'm not expecting it to be a few weeks. I don't know if he'll be back this season or not. Obviously the club will update us as he gets better. But he's going to be down there because he can't even fly back. So thoughts with him. Hopefully he can get better. I can only think of the incident where Kalsha flew for the mark and might have stuck a boot out. Maybe got him in that stomach area, and he was down on the ground for a bit. He obviously played out the game, but interesting one. Hope he has a full recovery.
Yeah, not great to see, but hopefully he's not out for too long, and I'm sure we'll get more information during the week. But main thing is that hopefully he's okay, and we'll just have to wait and see, I guess, how long he's going to be out for. But I've seen a few comments, Chris, about Bailey McDonald's goal in the third quarter or the fourth quarter? Fourth quarter, I think.
Fourth quarter.
Early fourth quarter, I think. Yeah. I tell you what, it didn't look like a wet weather game the way he stormed through there and kicked it, and he was off to the races, which was a pretty cool celebration. And could he be an option for a sub, like playing the sub role more often between maybe him and CJ as the sub? I don't mind CJ coming on as a sub. I know he had a poor game against Freo last week, but if he's coming on as a sub, probably a little bit different.
Yeah, he doesn't look out of place at AFL level, and they just tell him to play to his strengths, which is obviously his speed. I did find it interesting how he crept so far up the ground. I was sort of wondering if maybe they put him on a wing briefly, but it sounds like he may have just been in the back line and just maybe followed his opponent up the ground and took that opportunity, and it was brilliant. His celebration was outstanding.
They couldn't catch him. He was absolutely off. He got Kodang about 3 times and nearly got decapitated, the poor fella. He kicked his first goal and a ripper too. I think that was just before... I might have the time wrong, but Gunston nearly kicked goal of the decade. Not too long before that, I believe. I actually thought live that it got away from the Port defender on the line, but not to be. It was touched, but that would have been something special as well.
So does Gunners have a rest before finals? What are you thinking? He's pretty important to us at the moment.
For sure. Now with the selection that we have, for sure, I think.
So are you thinking maybe Gunners out for a rest on the short back up against Carlton? Chol back in?
I'd say so. Yeah.
Chol, Lewis, Deer. Well, I don't think we've seen that combo, have we? or definitely not for quite some time if we add.
Joel and Deere have played in the same side, but maybe Lewis, maybe once. I don't know. I'm trying to think the last game Lewis played, but yeah, I don't think so.
Yep. And obviously, another talking point of the game was Guinea's aeroplane Sally. It looked like he didn't want to do it, but he sort of had to do it, I think. I'm glad he did, because it was really good. And the coach's reaction was fantastic as well.
Yeah, it was good. I thought Ken took it well. It was a bit of a subdued airplane. Unfortunately, I didn't see that live. I'd literally just turned the game off. I was at work and I had to start closing. So I thought, this is over. I'm going to turn it off. And then I saw it. The first thing when I opened socials afterwards was the airplane Sally. It was pretty cool. And yeah, he was quite subdued. But fair play on, I think.
It was just perfect timing, because if it was, second or third quarter, you can't really pull that. But I think it was about 6 minutes left, it was just perfect timing to pull it out.
Yeah, I've just seen a couple of comments about how Bruce went. I think there was an earlier one. Does he get a farewell game? I'm going to ask you that, Chris. But I think to answer some questions in the comments about Bruce, I think he kicked 3 from 12 touches. Yeah, 12 touches, 3 goals. Yeah.
It's tough. I think if he gets a game, it's probably going to be on his own merits. When there's finals at stake, I don't think you can select him on that basis of a farewell game. But who knows if there's any injuries, or even if they choose to run him as a sub, possibly. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be a farewell game based on a farewell fairy tale finish for him. Either way, he looks like he'll be playing some finals at Box Hill if he's not lining up for the Hawks.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I don't know if had we been not really in contention for finals, I think it's a pretty straightforward in the last round. But being that I would say we're likely to play finals. I would say a lot has to go wrong for us to miss, and it still could happen, but I'm backing us in. Do you tinker with it? As you said, if he's getting in, he's going to be getting in on merit. It's not just we're going to give him a farewell game. Another good comment there. Bruce experience in finals boosts his chances potentially. Yeah, but I think if he was going to come in and play a final, I think it would be as a sub only. It worked quite well last year for him. He was a sub quite a bit last year. Don't think we've seen him as a sub this year. Maybe once. If I'm Tom farewell game in a grand final, that'd be nice, especially if he could get another one.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. Look, he's played well when he's been in the team. So it's just a matter of putting our best team in, and he's probably just not there when you've got the other small forwards, Dylan Moore, 32 touches, 3 goals. He's not going anywhere. Maybe the Wiz, his form's been down, but I think he's just too electric to not. He's a lot more.
You dropping Wiz?
Well, his form's been down. He's, if he's
Come on, mate. Come on, mate. He can change a game like that.
Yes, no, I agree with you. I think he's in, but I'm just saying, who would come out if he was to come in?
Yeah, not Wiz. Not Wiz for me. Guinea's been excellent, so I don't think his
form's been good.
Yeah, Guinea's been excellent over the last 4-6 weeks. Even Croc's been pretty good in patches.
Yeah, he runs up and down the ground. He's too valuable.
Yeah. I just think the work rate of our small forwards is that good, which you're not going to get that out of Brewsty for at this stage of his career. So yeah, it's going to be hard, I think.
All right. Dylan Moore back in form. I think he'd been carrying a bit of an injury as well, so his numbers had been down, but the last couple of weeks he's really returned to form.
Yeah, it was good to see both. Well, the captain and the vice captain getting back to a little bit of form. I'd probably want to see another one of those games for Sis. Morey, I'd say, yeah, that's definitely a return to form. Sis, yeah, I just think he looked a little bit more comfortable. He played it as a spare quite a lot instead of sort of direct, and he just seems to be a bit more comfortable when he's able to just peel off and intercept. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but one thing I did want to mention as well was Jarman Impey forward. I know it was only for sort of last quarter and a half. Kicked 3 in the last quarter, was it?
Yeah, 3 in the last and missed one as well. So he nearly had the 4. The new swingman.
I do agree with that, Con. Yeah, I think he's better up forward than Sis, and certainly Hardwick. I like that I think the Hardwick experiment is over. He hasn't gone forward for 6 or 7 weeks now, I think. So if Impey is the one that's going to be a bit of that swinger, then yeah, I think that's good.
Well, Hardwick was too valuable down back. He was often the last man in defence as well. So yeah, it was smart to put Impey forward. We could afford to lose him and out of the back line and keep Dimmer down there. So great move, and another card up his sleeve, I guess, to use whenever we need it.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, different looks and stuff depending on the way the game's going, and just be a bit of that icebreaker, I guess, is a good problem to have. Not really a problem; it's a good thing to have.
Well, where else do we go? Lloyd Meek, pretty solid. I think he was getting beaten at one stage. He was down about 10 hitouts against Jordan Sweet, and then he came back, and I think he ended up with more hitouts than him. So just another solid performance from him.
Yeah, I'm prepared to say that he's solidified himself as a top 3 ruckman in the comp this year. Been excellent.
Yeah, went through and looked at average hitouts against a couple of them. Max Gawn. Gone blank. There's about 3 or 4 ruckmen that we looked up who are sort of in that conversation, and they're all within a couple of hitouts and hitouts to advantage. And even just disposals and clearances. So, yeah, he's right up there with the best.
A few comments rolling in now saying that a few fans thought that he was beaten. Yeah, I don't know if he was beaten. I don't know if it was like a toweling either, but hard to say. I missed probably the first 10 minutes of the game and the last 10 minutes. So, I didn't see the whole thing. But, yeah, I don't know if he got beat. But yeah, I think regardless of this game, I think especially his last probably 6 to 8 weeks in particular, has been pretty solid.
Yep, no, definitely. And talking about that, we've got a pretty handy backup at the moment. Reeves has been in some decent form. I think he had 40 hitouts at Box Hill and kicked 3 goals. You laughing?
No, I'm not laughing.
So yeah, I think there might be a few clubs that might inquire about his services. If I don't know where his contract's at the moment, but I think he could be a handy pickup for another club if they come looking. I think because Ramsden's been really totally different, I guess, to Ned Reeves in what he can provide. So Ramsden, I think, will be the future. So he might think about an option of moving.
Yeah, it was interesting, wasn't it? I think there was 3 or 4 people that went into the ruck when Meek was off the ground. Deere was one of them. Josh Battle was in quite a few ruck contests. I saw Mitchie Lewis go into a couple.
And Jug Gatson for one, I think, too.
And Gunners, okay. Yeah. Interesting. But I don't know. Reeves, I think, is a backup. Touch wood. If anything happens to Meek, I think, he's a backup. But aside from that, not sure.
Yeah, Deere and the centre bouncers was, really good. Jumping over the top of them and get that hit out to Wiz, who bolted through for a couple of give and goes for the before getting. Did he get tackled high and got the free kick, I think, in the end? Kicked that goal?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd like to see him in there more, just for the fact that when he goes in there, I think oppositions are almost expecting him to be the target every single time he goes in. So if he's in there, they basically sent 2 people to him to try and stop him. Whereas if he was the decoy for us and 2 players go to him, and then that frees up one of our other on-ballers to get it. So I wouldn't mind them sort of taking that angle and playing him a few more bounces, centre bounces.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. Kelshire Deer looked, sharp. Craig's hit the nail on the head there. Really good to see what we saw at the back end of last year when the Hawks got on the big run into last year's finals. His attack on the ball is so good, especially in the air, and clunked a few. And as I said earlier in the stream, I think he was probably the only one really in between both teams that could actually take a contested mark up forward. I thought he was awesome, and it's good to see him back on the park. And finding that right combination with the other 3 in Gunston, Chol, and Lewis will be tough, but also a good weapon to have, being able to play them. Do you play 4 if you start 1 on the bench? I'm not sure you can squeeze the 4 in, but certainly to rotate them in and out is it's pretty good problem to have.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think when he played his first game of the season up in Darwin, I think he was just a little bit underdone. Obviously went back to Box Hill for a few games, and I think he's almost firing on all cylinders again now. Taking his marks, kicking goals at Box Hill just for fun. And, then comes back up to the Hawks and doing the same, really. Been kicking 2-3 goals each week. That's all he needs to do.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, like I said, that's really, I don't know if you'd say strong hands. He just had the touch, because he was sort of tapping the ball to himself almost and then grabbing it, which was in those conditions is probably not a bad thing.
Dermy was all over that on commentary. He was saying, the little he was calling the slider or something, the little quick, touch, kill the ball, let it drop, and then just let it sort of come into your chest and bang, grab it. It was good tactics in trying conditions, especially for talls. So and the wind as well. The wind was pretty severe. So it was good to see, and hopefully more of that. And just keep on getting a little bit better every week, because he hasn't played a whole heap of footy this year. Or not in the AFL side anyway. I know he's been a little bit at Box Hill, but hopefully just keep seeing what he did in the last year and just keep improving, because the sky's the limit with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Craig's hitting the nail on the head there with Deer if he fills out. Riley.
I don't quite think he might play in a similar style, but Riley Thilthorpe's like 105, 110 kilos. Kelshire's be lucky to hit 90 tops, I reckon, in his career.
Oh, yeah, he's got to beef up a little bit. A few pre-seasons, mate. We'll see what happens. But I don't know if he'll get big as Riley, but I do think he can be as damaging, like with how good a mark. He's a beautiful kick too. So, I really like what I'm seeing from him. Hawks fans sort of fell in love with him at the end of last year, and he's how old is he? He's super young, isn't he?
Kelshire?
Yeah,
I think he's only 20.
There you go. So, keep him fit, and could be anything.
Yeah. Now, a player that probably was well held, the opposite of Finn getting a tag, was Willem Drew. Held Jai Newcomb really quiet, didn't he? I don't think he barely touched the ball in the first quarter. He might have had 2 or 3 touches. But that was all right. Other players stepped up around him. But, I think either he's got to learn to shake that tag, or he definitely needs some more help from his teammates. It's obviously going to be a different scenario with Will Day coming back into the team and probably drawing a bit more attention away. But
is it confirmed that Will Day is going to play this week now, or like against Carlton?
I think he's been ripping it up on the track, and round 20's been nominated for quite a while now. So I think he might just have to pass a couple more tests, but it looks like they'll stick to that plan. And I guess on the short turnaround, it will be a pretty handy inclusion to give somebody else a rest and put him back in the team. Yeah,
I mean, getting him back before especially this, early before finals. I know we are starting to get to the pointy end of the season, but when first thought it was like, okay, he might only get back, his first game back might have been a final. So really good to get him back with 5 to go, 5 rounds, 6 rounds.
To be 5 rounds.
5 to go. Yeah. See how he goes. Obviously hope we can keep him fit and, like we're saying with, Deer and Lewis, but yeah, get him back out in the park. Hopefully he can play the footy that we all know he can, and see what happens, I guess.
Yes. As the comments, definitely will be Finn out and Day in.
Pretty straightforward, I would have thought.
Super unlucky, that injury. Who else do we talk about, mate? Any other sort of standouts for you?
Trying to think who we haven't touched on. Oh, Harry Morrison. I have been a little bit critical of Harry at times, not like, every week. But yeah, certainly at times. I think he's, growing into a pretty handy player, and one of those players that I was talking about before in terms of fringe players for maybe the last year that's really starting to solidify himself in the side. And I think he's been, pretty good alongside Josh Ward.
21 touches, so pretty handy. It's just the things he does off the ball that sort of doesn't get rewarded, I guess, whether it be a block or, he gets a hand in here or there. He's quite often pushing back. He's probably more defensive winger, whereas D'Ambrosio on the other wing's probably a bit more aggressive, a bit more attacking. But he was probably one that struggled in the wet a little bit, Mass.
Yep.
I'd have to have a look at his stats here. Massimo, 17 touches. Okay, 17, but just felt like he wasn't quite as damaging as he normally is. Just a little bit fumbly. I know everybody fumbled the ball, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's had a poor season, but considering, like last year, how good he was, he probably has dropped off just a little bit. But, nothing to sort of worry about. And there's other players around him that are playing, Amon and Impey are playing a similar role and off the half back line anyway. And they're going well. And I'm not worried about Mass, but in terms of Morrison, I thought, Josh has just brought it up as his best season by far. And certainly agree. And as you said, Chris, it's just the things he does without the footy. And I think his decision making is getting a lot better as well. He's been critiqued for that a little bit, but I think that he's getting better. The more footy he plays, the better that'll get. So, just keep on keeping on, and I think he's going well.
Yeah, I don't think the lineup's going to change too much once Wilday's back in the team. It's more about that forward lineup and how they're going to work that out between those big talls. But is anybody else injured or not in the team? I think it was just getting Scrimshaw back. It's probably one of the other major ones that we've been missing.
It was Scrimmer in, Lewis in, and there was one more in because it was 3 outs. And then it was CJ out, Mackenzie out, and Chol injured. So really, if you're looking at this week, Finn out for Day.
Yep.
And then potentially Chol back in, as we mentioned earlier with Gunston, if they're going to give Gunston a rest off a shortish break. I think that's everyone that's sort of not in the team that might be back in. I think once we get Bailey was in. Yeah, I knew I was missing one. Thanks, Craig. In as the sub. I wouldn't see probably 2 changes at most. Gunston potentially out. Weddle's on the unknown list as well. Yeah, I thought we might have been missing one. Thank you, Josh. But I would say that's Weddle's as Josh said, unknown. Yeah, we don't know. I would be surprised, happily surprised, but I would be surprised if we see him in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yep. Yeah, it's just a stress fracture. I guess they'll just do more scans on it and see how he's going. But if we could somehow get him back on the park along with Will Day, everything's starting to look positive. If we can, like I said, we're matching it with the best. We're probably just not quite there at the moment. But if we can turn this next 5 weeks into some really good form, I'm excited what we can do if the finals.
Yeah, exactly. We know we can get on a run. We did it last year, and I think this is a better side than last year. We've got a bit of a tougher run, obviously, coming in. Collingwood, Brisbane, and Adelaide, all in the last 4-week stretch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be difficult. But even in the games, even the Collingwood and Brisbane game, like Collingwood was obviously a relatively poor performance for the most part, but even the Brisbane game, I thought that we were actually quite competitive for most of the game. They just had spurts where they sort of put us to bed at the end of the second quarter and then at the start of the fourth as well. So I don't think it's that far away. It's just about playing 4 quarters. And, if you go to sleep for even 10, 15 minutes against those top sides, they're going to put you to bed pretty quickly. And I think fixing that issue will go a long way and just staying switched on and keeping pressure. Our pressure factor was over like 270 at one stage. During the game. And obviously it did lead itself to a contested pressure, high pressure game with the weather. But yeah, when the pressure meter's 270, like that's as good as it gets. Yep. They say 220 is elite, that's it's a fair way higher.
So what's the chances if Brisbane locks up a top 2 finish before the last round? You reckon they could rest some players potentially and against us in the last round?
They could, but I'm with the pre-finals bye now. I just don't think there's a need for that anymore. They may rest 1 or 2 if they're carrying niggles, but I would think that they're not going to rest them just to keep them fresh because that's what the pre-finals bye is for. The pre-finals bye is for. So yeah, I don't think so. But I mean, I wouldn't mind it. But at the same time, if you want to take momentum into finals, you want to beat last year's premiers close to their best, not with half their side out, because it's not it's not as good a win then.
Yep. No, I agree with that. Yeah, that's fair. It's going to be tough, isn't it? I mean, we still can miss.
Oh, for sure. And like we've got, it's tough. It's a tough run home. Like it's certainly on the cards that we finish 9th. I'm confident that we won. I just think we need to pinch one of those games against the Collingwood, Brisbane, or Adelaide game. Pinch one of them, especially now that the Doggies are 2 games behind us, I think, in 9th. You pinch one of them, but you lose all 3 and you're really opening yourself up then. And I would hope we could go 2-1, really. Obviously, 3-0 through that stretch would be great, but, manage expectations. It's possible.
I honestly think Adelaide's the toughest test at the moment. I don't mind playing Collingwood. I think they've sort of hit a bit of a slump. So I think they're there for the taking. And Brisbane they've just been winning. They haven't been doing it great. And then the last month of footy, they've just turned it on. So they will be hard, but I still think we're a chance up there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think our backline's got the talent to go with, Adelaide's forward line is as good as it gets, really, in terms of the damage they've done. Just look at their percentage, and that tells you all you need to know. But I think our backline's got the capabilities to negate that and then get our game plan working off half back. And if we can do that goes a hell of a long way to beating Adelaide if you negate their scoring. Obviously, it sounds pretty simple. Stop them scoring and we win. But yeah, if we can do that for the most part, it's certainly a game that we're in.
Well, we've sort of been winning ugly recently, have we? It hasn't been sort of exciting, pretty footy, however you want to call it. But so I just don't know. Like you said, that backline's super solid. It's probably the mids and the forwards where we can make the most change. Whether that be that, it's probably that speed, that ball movement, that hawk ball that we haven't really seen too much of this year, which I'm not sure what's changed exactly. But yeah, I think if we can reintroduce that speed and ball movement, I think that'll be what we need to the winning formula.
Yeah, it is a bit of a different look to what the end of last year was, but I also think that goes into just being better scouted from the opposition in terms of not not giving us the corridor, not allowing us to, play really, really aggressively, and they clog up the corridor. But I am also prepared to say that I do think Mitch might have a little bit of that flick the switch sort of up the sleeve for the business end of the season, and it would be good to see some of that. So how quick and aggressive we were, but that obviously also goes into the double-edged sword, because last year it works out well because of how well we use the ball, and the kicks that are required to play that game style, they have to hit, because if they don't, you're turning it over in horrible positions and you're going to get caught on the rebound. So It has been a little bit of a different style, but winning ugly in my book is not necessarily a bad thing. I think that's what good sides do when they get challenged. They just grind it out, find a way to win, which is why last week's loss to Fremantle was a little bit disappointing, because Freo were able to do that and we weren't. But yeah, I think for the most part, that's what good sides do. They just dig deep, find a way to win, get the 4 points, move on. And if we can do that, probably 3 more times for the rest of for the last 5 weeks. Carlton and Melbourne, I think, is the other team we play. So you would think, all going well, they should be 2 wins. There's 2. So if you think you need 3, that's where we go back to before. Okay, we only need 1 more against the Collingwood, Brisbane, Adelaide. And if you get 2, top 4's back, well and truly back in the cards, especially if that win is against Adelaide. We're going to need a hand for some other teams with Adelaide because of how good their percentage is. But if we can get a game in front of them, we're making top 4. But week at a time.
It's one of the most intriguing final 8. Like it's 9 teams in the running, and like you said, almost anyone can drop out of top 4 or drop out of the 8. It's insane.
Yeah, I think there's 2 games between 3rd and 9th. And 1 game between 3rd and 6th, but technically 7th, because Gold Coast have got a game in their sleeve. So interesting to see some here in terms of the hot ball, Chris. There is a few good comments in here in regards to sort of what's changed. Josh, Beck, and Yarra, all with 3 good ones. I agree with probably all 3, to be honest. I did say at the start of the year, Josh, just to touch on this point, I did say to, I think it might have been you, Chris, that with how many players had standout years last year, if any of them dip just a little bit, and not necessarily play poorly, but if they don't step up again, then what does the team look like? And there probably has been a little bit of that this year, that yes, there's players that have stepped up, but there's also players that are sort of at that same level. And to get to that free-flowing, real aggressive and dominating style of football, we're going to need to see a couple more, get back to how well they were playing at the end of last year. And if we do that, I think we can still do a heap of damage in September. Yeah.
Like I said, it's probably just getting Will Day back in there. Like, we're a totally different team when he's there. So not that you want to rely on one player, but he does make that big of a difference.
The stats say that too, Chris. Yeah. I think I don't know the stat off the top of my head, but the stat with Will Day compared to without is, so I'm sure someone will know it. Drop it in the comments if you do, but I know it's quite significant.
Yep. So like I said, it's just about him regaining that match fitness. They may just look to give him 70% game time or something like that. If we're beating Carlton easy, they might just sub him out just to ease him into it. But I mean, if they cop an injury, you don't get the luxury of doing that, do you?
No, it doesn't. But you just got to see what happens, and hopefully, no injuries, and just see what happens. He's a massive, like his role to the team, like individually with him playing, is huge. But it's just more what he does, the role that he plays, and allows a few others around him to play, like Jai, even Nashi to some extent. He plays, a pretty similar role every week, but even still Nashi. Warple for sure. Warple is the real contested beast then. And when Day and Newcomb are there next to him, he's kicking the ball less, which to me personally, I think is a good thing. He sort of just bombs on the boot. So I would say that, it's going to be a big inclusion, and we're just hoping that he can stay fit and play good footy. And what he does for the rest of the boys around him it's massive, which is why the record is what it is without him.
Yep, absolutely. All right. I don't know what else we touched a little bit on Box Hill. Do you want to go a bit deeper into Box Hill?
I mean, I haven't seen anything, literally nothing of Box Hill. I checked the score 2 minutes before we went on, but I've probably got nothing to add unless some Hawks fans in the comments want to come to my rescue.
I think Jai Sarong had a pretty decent game playing on a wing. Who was it? We said Bruce kicked 3 and Ned Reeves kicked 3 playing out of the ruck. So
yeah.
I'm not sure who else besides those are sort of the ones that would be looking at a recall. Jai Sarong's an interesting one because he is probably more of a natural backman, and maybe they're trying to give him that different role on a wing. It's getting pretty late in the season to pull that trigger, but if there was some sort of injury or, it could be a handy sub to even have, because you can always rotate Impey or whoever, push someone forward, he goes down back, or he can play on a wing. But yeah, it's good to have a bit of depth at the moment, and yeah, hopefully we can get our best players on the park and do some damage in the finals.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're getting pretty close. Like, touch wood, no more injuries, but we are getting pretty close to fully fit now. Weddle's probably the only one. I think it's not unlikely that we don't see him again this year. I'm hoping that we do, but they're still waiting on confirmation for that, and hopefully he's back before finals or even during finals. But yeah, I think he's probably the only one at the moment that is like a lock in the side that's out. I do agree, Fred. Yeah,
I agree with that, and yeah, I think there'll be other clubs sniffing around. I don't know if he will stay, especially if the opportunity to go play with his brother. It'd be better if his brother come to us, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, there's a few that are in with how much depth we have now, how quickly it's changed. There's a few that are sort of not getting a game or not getting consistent game time that are potentially, are easily good enough to play AFL, and we may have to see a few of them go, but that's, the nature of the beast. And really, we can't have all of them because there's only 22 guys that get picked, plus the sub. So is what it is, I guess.
It is. It's a tough thing for those players, and yeah, you either get better and improve and push your way into the team, or you're relying on injuries. But you obviously don't want injuries. But,
no.
Yeah, nature of the beast. But good problem to have for Sam and the coaching panel to have. Yeah,
I don't think I'd want to be in those selection meetings at this point in time. It's going to be pretty tough, but it's, as we keep saying, it's a good problem to have, and hopefully we do see guys getting that opportunity. Sarong certainly deserves a crack, but is there a spot for him? It's no fault of his own. He's doing everything he can to play, but when there's guys in front of him that are, a little bit more experienced, sort of locked into the side and playing good footy as well, it makes it pretty hard for him to come in, even though he's well deserving of a chance.
Yeah. Is Frost under contract, Cody? I think they gave him a 1-year deal from memory. So I wouldn't be surprised if another club that really needs a backman would give him an opportunity. I think he would probably only stay in Melbourne, though, with his young family, but you never know if they might offer a coaching player situation for him that might entice him. But yeah, he's a bit unlucky. I thought his form last year was outstanding, but the inclusions of Barras and Battle just pushed him out, unfortunately. Yeah. All right, we might start to wrap it up. If you want to put in some predictions for this week, Thursday night, Mitch. I was going to invite you. I'll invite you after the once we're off air, mate. Come on Thursday. I'll be heading along Thursday with me, brother. So
Hawthorn by 64.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time to get some percentage and really tonk them. Carlton are struggling. Let's put them out of their misery and just belt them.
We have had a increase in our percentage the last sort of month or so. it has crept up to a point where that could be a deciding factor on where we finish on the ladder. So yeah, a good win would definitely help that out. I think I predicted John Newcomb to have an outstanding game last week before the Port game, and he didn't have a stinker, but he was well held.
He was well held. Yes,
I was well off the mark last week, but
we know you're not a great punter, Chris. It's all right.
I'll try again. Who we got? Carlton.
Yeah.
I don't want to go the Will Day. I'm going to say Massimo, a bit of return to form. I reckon he might be in the mid-20s and maybe snag a goal or two.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I think Mitch is going to kick 6.
Well, he's in some better weather conditions and maybe against some lesser opponents. He's every chance, isn't he?
Yeah. Hopefully, he's better for the run this week, and he looks really fit, which is good. And I'm hoping he can get a big score on the board pretty quickly. And if it's not this week, hopefully it's against some teams in the later half of the year and then finals for sure.
8 goals, 60 points. We're starting to see a smaller margin there, but I will take any win. It will be disappointing if we somehow lose.
Oh, my next question was going to be: does anyone actually think we're any chance to lose? I mean, it's always a small chance, but yeah,
there's usually one punter that goes against us. Hawks by 49. Maybe a Mitch for 6. I like it. That 40 to 60 points seems to be around the right mark.
Yeah, I'm thinking 10 goals plus, but we'll see what happens. I guess
you and Justin almost bang on. Lewis with 6. Wiz with 4. I like it. He could absolutely. He's due to tear a game apart again, isn't he?
Yeah, for sure. He's been okay without really tearing a game open, but he threatened to at times against Port, but got to stop playing for free kicks because he's not getting the ones that are there. So stop ducking your head. I know he's 5'4" or something, but stop ducking your head.
Nice. I think everyone's on the that same thought process this week. Looks by 5, a little bit less, but take a win for sure. Always a chance to lose in a 2-team game. I guess that's true.
Small chance, hopefully, but you're right. It is always a chance.
I'd say highly unlikely, though.
Everyone's don't moz us, Chris. No, everyone's pretty confident. I think I am as well, but we'll have to see what happens. It's Thursday night or Friday night?
Thursday night, mate.
Thursday night. Yeah, cool.
So excited. Get back to the G. Although we did have some good success down in Tassie. 4 wins from 4 games this season, so that was an excellent effort.
Yeah, against some pretty tough opposition too. What was it? Adelaide on the Friday night game, GWS, Port, and I can't remember the fourth. Oh, North.
Yep.
North. Yep.
All right. Any last thoughts, mate?
I think we've covered most things, mate. And good win in trying conditions, and we move on to Carlton and get a win on the board, and then hopefully put in a really good 4 weeks leading into finals, and then see how much damage we can do. We'll see.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks everyone for joining us. As always, we'll be back next week. Obviously, jump on, give us a like, Facebook, Twitter, X, all your favorite platforms. 6 points will most likely be released in the morning. All the other content. So, yes, and there'll be 2 of us. I think Lauren might be back, hopefully. Is she still away?
Not sure.
Alrighty. Thanks for joining us again, guys, and we'll catch you next week.
Go Hawks.